All right, hello everyone. Welcome to the barn, and this is Pickin and Grinnin. Sit back and relax and enjoy the show. All right. Hello everyone. We got Brandon and Brad with us today. Leroy, I'm sure he's still doing his he's got some personal stuff he's been doing on Thursdays here lately, so he'll come in if he's able to. Brandon, I mean not Brandon, Brad. Apparently, he says he's the almost greatest reseller of all time this week. I'm the professional slacker this week, and Brandon's just Brandon this week, throwing away
Brandon's
baseball
always
cards.
just Brandon.
But we're so I do want to cover something real quick. Okay, I'm a professional slacker because I haven't done anything in 2 days, guys. I haven't listed anything. I've been sourcing and doing video work. So I sourced all day yesterday, did video work today, and I'll be sourcing all day tomorrow. Okay, so if you haven't been watching, I'm out of inventory, so I gotta get my inventory built back up. So that's what I've been doing for the last couple of days. I do have something that's just happened to me with a sale, and
You
I
had a
want to.
sale?
Yeah, I did have a sale today. First, I want to say, Jimmy, huh?
I thought somebody turned off when those 1,000 employees that got laid off at eBay turned the switch off before they left last night.
Maybe. First, I want to say hey to my friend Jimmy Williams. He lives up there in Maryland, Brandon. He lives up there. He says he's below the Mason-Dixon line. I aggravate him all the time and tell him he's still a Yankee because he lives in Maryland because he's north of Tennessee. Regardless of that, though, thanks, Jimmy, for watching this, man. Jim, it's good to see you. I'm glad. I hope everything's okay with you at home. I know you guys are pretty cold up there. You probably got a lot of snow. So, hey, it's good seeing you here in the show with us, buddy. It's good seeing you. Sue, thanks for joining. It's glad to see you today. So, real quick, I want to go over the sale. I just got this sale, Brad. You was talking about you thought somebody turned the switch off. I had a couple sales just. Wait a minute, did I have a sale yesterday? No, I didn't have a sale yesterday at all because I didn't send nothing out this morning. So I had a sale tonight, and it was an Ariat black and white puffer vest, ladies puffer vest. And so I sent the guy. He bought it earlier today, and I sent the guy a reminder, a payment reminder, like we always do. And then he sent me a message that says, when I click my shopping cart, it says it's empty. I'm not sure what's going on. And they actually sent me a screenshot. And it says, you don't have any items in your cart. Let's go shopping. Well, so I figured, I says, well, let me send him an invoice. And that's what I told him I'd do. I'd send him an invoice. Well, when I send him an invoice, it tells me, it says invoices can't be sent to eBay international shipping orders. Is that normal? Is that I've never come across that issue. I didn't know if you could or could not send. I don't know. Is that something normal or something new?
Yeah, that's normal. If you've got
Hello, Lisa.
if you've got an international sale, I've had, if they don't, I've tried to send an invoice and it won't do anything because I usually don't send an invoice at all. But like when it goes into 6 or 7 days and it's not paid and it's not dropping off because it's for some reason the eBay international sales don't drop off after 4 days and automatically release like the other ones. Then I try to send an invoice and you can't send an invoice on international sales. So
there's some kind of glitch in his system. So I guess
what it could be is waiting for the payment to process. Like he might have already checked out and paid, and it's just not processed the payment yet.
They gotta.
So it's not showing you the payment, but it's not showing him that he needs to pay.
Yeah, and then they got to take it from his bank and get on the boat and come across the water to where you are
with his money.
Yeah, because we don't live in the digital age. So
right. So we'll see what happens. I told him, I said he might want to get a hold of eBay and see what the problem is, you know. So, I mean, I'm kind of glad I sold this thing. I've been getting a lot of lowball offers on this thing, and finally I got somebody with a decent offer, you know, so I went ahead and accepted it. I want to say hello to all the new viewers because I believe we're going to be getting some new viewers. And here's the reason why. I put out a video, the last video I put out, for some reason, I guess people liked it because it's got over 1,000 views. It's not even me speaking my mind on anything. It's just about that last haul that I had that I didn't think was very good haul. So we got a lot of new subscribers to the channel through that, and we're 11 away from 500. So we should be getting a lot more views on the Pickin and Grinnin. And with that said, those that are new and maybe watching this later, if you can ever catch us live, if you have any questions, please ask us. We have a variety of people here. We do have a fourth person. His name is Leroy. He deals with tools. Brad here deals with pretty much toys and a lot of other stuff. I deal with pretty much everything. And Brandon, he deals with everything. And he also knows a little bit about sports cars. Not a whole lot, but a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So how's your week been, Brad? You've been kind of quiet in the chat this week.
Yeah, just been busy. It's been good. Sales have been steady, and then like today, they just, for whatever reason, it's been real quiet. But it's been that way a couple of days this week. It's real quiet, and then at night, for some reason, it'll pick up and go. But I just that. And then another thing I've noticed a few weeks back, I think there were like several videos from people about changes to the post office and changes to sale or pricing and stuff. And I remember it was supposed to be like the post-apocalypse. But I don't know if you guys
shipping went up.
That's what I'm saying. But on mine, like the stuff I've been sending out, like it's been like really cheaper than normal. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. This morning, there was a label that was going, it was 3 pounds, 15 ounces, and it was $6.62 for Ground Advantage. I looked up priority just because, if it's close, I'll just use one of their boxes instead of spending 83 cents for one of mine. And it was like $6.92 or something for a 3 pound, 15 ounce box. And I noticed it was that way yesterday on a couple of things. It's like prices have actually been cheaper. Like, I don't know as I've ever sent a priority package over 1 pound that was less than, like, I think the cheapest that's ever been for me is like $7.05. But I had stuff over a pound going like for like a like $5 or $6.80 or something like that.
I heard that they implemented cubic rate now on eBay. And
okay,
so
that'll explain it.
It's helped with a lot of the pricing. I did ship something earlier today. It was in your genre, some toys. But they went to California, and I was kind of surprised at how much they cost. I wasn't expecting. It was almost $7, and it was just a 4 little. I think it was like 1 pound 3 ounces or something. It was 4 of the little Hot Wheel Monster Jam trucks.
Mm-hmm.
Had them in an 864 box, and I think it was 1 pound 3 ounces.
You sold them for a lot.
I had like 12 of them, and I broke them into lots of 4.
Out of curiosity, what'd you get for the 4?
That lot got $12.99, I think.
Okay, all right. So, I sell a lot of them little Hot Wheel monster trucks. That's why I asked what you were getting them for a lot.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to be almost $7 for that little box, but it's no big deal. I'm into the toys for probably nothing, so But
so
that's the only one I've seen that's been weird, like all higher. So
I'm gonna give everyone a sneak peek. I just did a video today. I'm still in the process of editing it of my I went to the bins yesterday, and then I also went to another local thrift store that we go to. And I videoed all of it except for the local thrift store. I did the video of what show you guys of what I picked up. So I'm gonna give you a sneak peek of one item that I picked up for $3.50. It is real. It has been authenticated, and it's very very nice. This is a Michael Kors. It's a black coated canvas bag. I paid $3.50 for it. Very, very nice. The bag alone has been selling anywhere from 40 and up. Brand new, this bag's over $150, brand new. So, but with this bag, mine actually has the wallet with it that comes with it. So none of the other listings had the wallet that come with it. Now the reason I brought this up is I want to, and this is in my video, I want to talk about this. So when I was as resellers, we research the item, we do sold comps on the item, and then when we go to search for the item, the first thing we see are listed items, and then we have to search out sold items. 1 second, Lisa. Let me finish this, and we will answer that quick question. So I found Goodwill listings on this purse on eBay. Goodwill has their own store that they online store, and they auction items off. My question is, and what they've done is they've taken this item and lowered the price considerably below the market value, the actual market value of this item. So this item's listed by other resellers such as me anywhere between $60 to $100. All right. I found 2 listings that are Goodwill listings, and I put the screenshot in my video that show that it is Goodwill selling it. One's $25 and the other one's $27. And then I put a sold listing from Goodwill for $24.99. They are putting items in eBay to drop our market value for our items that we sell. At least on this item they have. And I don't know why they would do that.
Though.
It doesn't. And that's what I don't understand.
That seems counteractive to what Goodwill is, like their approaches in the store. Like they're marking their items up in the store.
Yep.
So if they would try to drive the third-party market value down, it would seem a little backwards.
You're right, and I even pointed that out in my video. You're absolutely correct.
I don't know that that's intentional.
I don't know. I just know because I was like, why would this person sell this? So you know how you can click on the item and it shows you who the seller is. It tells you the name and all that. And both those items, I even put screenshots in my video. Both of those items are Goodwill. It has the Goodwill
they buy it now or auction
logo.
Because
one of them was an auction and one of them was a buy it now, and the one that sold was a buy it now. The one that was at auction was up to
I've never even noticed $7 or Goodwill doing buy it nows online. I thought they ran everything at auction,
which is dumb.
I thought they they did it on their own store too. I mean, why would they come to eBay? And that kind of burnt me a little bit on that. So as I was wondering, ask is, what are your opinions on number of listed per day to the number of sales per day on eBay?
A lot of variables.
Brad, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say just lots of variables. I mean, is it like our number of listed today could be quite high some days because of the nature of, if we're listing like individual Playmobil figures or something, you can knock out a ton of those in a day. There's no way we're ever going to match sales. So, but if we're listing, things with high sell-through rates, there'd be days where you could, you could outpace your listings quite easily. So, it's just there's so many variables. I kind of don't know how to answer that. But I think there's probably some correlation just as far as the algorithm goes that eBay recognizes you as, keeping feeding the beast, so to speak. So I think there's some
Brandon,
correlation.
what do you notice to that?
I mean,
Brandon, what do you? Yeah.
you hear all different stories and theories and algorithm fixes, and like we could use a whole roll of Reynolds wrap right now and just throw it around our head and tinfoil it. But there's one thing. I mean, I went from December 22nd to January 2nd without listing an item, and I still had sales every day. Now, am I going to say my sales were as good as normal? No, I'm not. Um, you see the results when you list items. Like that's just human nature. If Walmart didn't stock the shelves in the store, they're going to sell items. No, you're going to eventually run out. There's things that just aren't constantly bought, and that's why in this space it's the long tail, and you hear the sell through and everything else. My opinion, and from what I see, and I've actually, it's funny because Lisa posted a comment on the video I did yesterday, and it's a topic that I actually had thought about doing a couple months ago. So Lisa, thank you, and I am going to do that video for you. This topic here is another one. I wasn't planning on doing a video, but I just spoke to a friend yesterday or the day before. There's a couple guys that I've known for a couple years on my card channel, and they've dipped their toes in reselling. And y'all know I've been keeping track of my number of listings, right, for the month, and I challenged all of us to try to hit like a 300 a month thing. I'm currently at 309 listings for the month of January. And what I found interesting,
you can take the rest of the month off, Brandon.
I'm not going to do that. But what I found interesting is it's allowed me to track, all right, what are my sales looking like? And I'm actually at 154 sales. So if
for the month,
you can do the easy math there, I'm at almost 50%. Like, I've listed 309, sold 154. So it's almost like, if I list 2, I'm going to sell 1. And I am, is that 100% sell through? No. But are we ever going to have 100% sell through? No. I think that's actually pretty good. And y'all know also, because I've been chatting with you guys, I haven't sourced since December 2nd. So that's, almost 2 months now that I have only been listing, digging death pile. And I'm still getting that, that good sell rate right there. So I'm very happy with that. There's a category that I enjoy selling. That was my number one reselling category last year, outside of sports cards. That was hats. I am at, for the year, I've sold 26, and we are on January 25th. So I'm over 1 per day, just over 1 per day average on selling hats. That's freaking awesome, So I'm pretty pumped the way that January
You can't
started
sell
out.
hats on eBay.
No, you
They don't
suck. I mean,
no.
all jokes aside, I have a little internal kind of challenge that would be absolutely awesome. I want to see if I can sell $10,000 worth of hats this year.
For the year?
And
yeah,
for
I
the
think
year,
you can.
I'm at $790 in sales for January in hats, and I think that would be awesome. Used.
It's gonna be
hats.
close. I think
Well,
it'll be done.
I could pick it up throughout the year, and I have a big inventory of them already, and it's something that I can blow listings through. But again, since we did this little listing challenge thing, a lot of my listings and what's allowed me to get to 300 plus already in January is listing hats. But the proof there is I've already sold 26 for the month. So, to answer the question, the opinion is if you're listing, you're going to sell. I mean, especially if it's good items, if you have high sell through, you're going to sell more, but even your long tail stuff is going to eventually start selling. So,
yeah.
So 5 years ago, Lisa, when I got involved in the common thing was every 100 items you have in your store, you will sell 1 a day. So the goal was, but you had, so at a time that meant that, hey, you still got a list. It wasn't like list 100 items every day. It's just like when you get 100, you should start selling one a day, but you still got a list every day. Like the great example you gave us was Walmart. It's not going to sell anything if they don't stock their shelves every night. So it's the same concept. So so here's what I want to say with that is items. I'm up to 800 and I was at 90. I'm at 890, 888. Okay. So based off of what I heard 5 years ago, now you got to remember 5 years ago, we was just getting into the pandemic. 100 was working. Sometimes it was 2 every 100. Now it's not the case. So I got 888 items in my store. So I have over 800 items. So I'm still only averaging. I'm averaging now between 1 to 3 sales a day, and that's a normal day for me. 5 or 6, 7, anything over. If I get anything over 4 sales a day, it's just I've had because that's 4 times 5. That's 20 items a week. You take it by 7. That's another. What is that? 28 items a week. And if you're averaging on my end, if you're at $35 a sale at 28 items, that's roughly on. I don't have a calculator. It's a little over $400 a week. $400 in sales. With my shipping cost and all that, it all comes down to right around $325 a week is what I put in my pocket. Now, a lot of people in different places of the country, that's not going to sustain them at all, and I get that. Where I'm at and where I'm located, eBay, I don't. Okay, for one, I do have affiliate links. I don't make any money off my affiliate links because nobody uses them. Two, I don't have 1,000 subscribers. I don't have 4,000 watch hours, so I don't make any money off of YouTube. Number 3, my income is eBay, and then I do have one other income that doubles my monthly income average. So that's how I make it. It's average listing numbers of listing per day, per sale. I'm hoping I'm answering the question by saying if you list 10, I believe so, because it hasn't worked that way for me. It may work with bigger stores, but yeah, look, I'm a small store.
Well, I think there's a ton of variables there too. Right. I mean, what kinds of items you're selling. I bet there's a correlation. I'll use an example from a different area of my life, but I bet a lot of it has to do with traffic. Like some of I pastor a church on the, not on the side, but I pastor a church, and there's this. It's not a software we use. There's a partner church we have, and they have a software where you can track your attendance and stuff. And the reason we do that is not because the numbers is not really so important to us, but you would be surprised that how like through every week of the year, like it basically follows the same graph. You might have like 14% more people this year than you had last year, but that attendance graphic is like the same all the way through the year to the extent that it can tell me about how many people to expect on any given weekend. So we have chairs that we can move in and out. So I know if, I can kind of know that I need to take some chairs out for this weekend, or we're just going to have a bunch of empty seats. I need to add some this weekend because we're going to have a bunch of people. And I bet if you had the data that eBay has, you could see like week upon week all the way throughout the year when the big sales days are, when there's they're off. And so some of it could be correlation, not necessarily causation. If you listed 100 items on a day where there's like huge sales days on eBay historically, or sections or seasons, you're going to sell a bunch and you're going to think, oh wow, I need to do that every week. And then you do that the next week and you might not get the sales that you got. So sometimes it's impossible to know. I think that's why you just got to have some processes and some practices in place, and just follow those through, and the principles apply.
To add on to that with the variable things, I'm not going to sit here and, like Chris was trying to throw the old theory ratio. You should be selling, 10%.
Oh, I don't think that happens now.
Of your inventory or whatever the case may be. There's other elements to it, and you have to look at. So I could sit here and list 10 items right now while we're talking, but if I'm just throwing listings up and it's stuff that nobody wants, or the price is totally out of range, it's an item that never sells, the shipping is too high or whatever, those 10 items could sit there till next year at this time and never sell. So I could say I listed 10 items, but it doesn't matter. The other element too is it's not just making sales. Like Chris said, he averages 1 to 3 sales a day. There's people out there that could make thousands of dollars on 1 to 3 sales a day if they're selling $1,000 items. Maybe they don't need to sell, but 1 to 3 items a day. I'll tell you, just on personal opinion or numbers. So looking at my numbers right now, I told you guys I have 154 sales so far in January. That number is actually down 31% in number of sales from January 2023. And I believe Lisa was watching when I did my year-end review for 2023 and how much I actually made. My January and February of 2023, I didn't earn much money because I had just started reselling. So if I was to tell you I just started reselling in January of 2023, but my sales were down 31% this year over 2023, you might ask yourself why. Well, when you look at my dollar amount, my ASP is up 257%. My net number is up 131%. So I've sold 31% less items, but I have made 131% more money. So it's not just all ratios and apples to oranges or apples to apples when you're talking about selling. I like to say the most important thing is that net number, because that's the number that you're putting in your pocket. So
too many variables.
Yeah, exactly. So if y'all looked at my chart, you'd be like, what the heck's going on with it? Like, what did he do? Because it doesn't tell the full story. And I actually did a video, like not yesterday, but last Wednesday, about ASP, because looking at my ASP, it's very confusing, but it's because it doesn't tell the full story. So
I want to comment on
here, so I'll shut up.
Yeah, real quick, I want to comment on what Lisa says. She says it's very helpful on about 2 to 1 as well, Brandon. I was wondering if selling more, I'm getting close to 1,000 in my store and wasn't sure if I should get a bigger store. Thank you all. Lisa, I want the upgrading your store part. This is what I'm going to do. I have the basic, the 1,200 or 1,500 listings, whatever it is, the $20 store. That's the one I have. When I get to where I have to pay for my listings, and I'm going to keep that store until, if paying for my listings cost more than what I'm paying for the store now, then I will upgrade to the next. Sorry, I got brain fog. If after I meet my max items that I can list in my store, if the items that I continue to list cost more than what the next level store cost, then yes, I will upgrade my store. Did that make any sense, anybody? I had brain fog there for a minute. Did that make any sense? Brad's looking at me like, what are you talking about?
No, I was just thinking, I wish there was some way with the StreamYard thing where I could like stick my hand over on Leroy's screen and like do like the John Cena thing or something.
Hi, Leroy. How you been, buddy?
But I can't reach over like and my hand going to his screen like I'm trying to take one of his Cheetos, like
But Leroy's
High
underneath
five,
me, and
Leroy.
you're reaching to the
High
wrong.
five. High five,
Reach
Leroy.
the other
Come on,
way.
man.
High five the other way.
Turn the
Don't
other
let me
way.
hanging, bro.
You're going the
No.
wrong way. You're going the wrong way. Both of you
Other
are
way,
going the wrong
Leroy.
way.
Here we go. Come on, Leroy.
Brad, the
Yeah.
hand on the other side.
Hey,
You know
on
that-
He didn't
on
see
my
it.
screen, it's right there.
Yeah. Oh,
Do it the
okay.
other
On our
All right.
screen, you're on the other
There
side.
you go.
There you go. There you go.
Other side now. Other side now.
There you go.
No.
I'm done.
How about this, Leroy?
Yeah. How you been, Leroy?
I'm doing okay. I got a show.
So
and tell
hey, look
item.
right. All right, look right here, Leroy. I'm gonna show you something. All right, so under my name, I'm the professional slacker, and Brad's the almost greatest reseller of all time. And I'll tell you, I'm the professional slacker because I haven't listed anything in 2 days.
You probably did, right? You went.
No, I didn't list nothing yesterday. I went shopping yesterday, and then
Well,
today
hey,
I
you know
about
whatever
wife
you
today.
were, all I know, I listed the other one of these bad Larrys today. Anybody
What is
have
that?
any idea what this is?
Is that like the Morse code thing?
No, I know what it is, Leroy, because I worked in manufacturing. I just can't think of exactly what it is right now.
So
it's a piece of metal.
it's a very expensive piece of metal.
Yeah,
That actually $10. It's a lathe for remote control car armatures, not remote control slot cars. So that you put the armature. I have one too. Don't know where it went. I had an armature. But you put the armature here, and then there's a motor that goes here. I took the motor off because the motor was worth $30 by itself.
Yeah.
I took.
So what does it do?
It cuts the armature for racing. It's very expensive. When I used to race, I wanted one of these. I couldn't afford it.
You talking about RC racing?
Slot cars, yeah. I went to a state sale today. It was loaded. I got a bunch of parts.
I'm sorry, Leroy. Is slot car something that you can sit in and drive yourself, or is it radio controlled?
No, slot cars.
it's the little plastic tracks.
Yeah.
that the car runs on the slot.
Okay. I got you. I'm dumb, Leroy. I'm from the South, man. I don't know.
And that
You do
isn't
like
what
the
I
big
was
dude.
thinking it was. That looked like something. That looks like a tool. Now that you say it's a lathe, but it looks like the tools they use a lot in CNC, like on CNC machines.
Yeah, it's like a mini one. It's mini.
Yeah.
It's like this big. Yeah, there was a couple other ones I wanted, but they had their prices up too high. But I'm gonna try to go back tomorrow and see. I listed 12 items quickly, but I had taken all the pictures just from that stuff from today. So I paid $80 for everything. And
So you went to an auction today?
yeah. Can I I'm gonna jump in here. I'm gonna share screen real quick.
Yeah, go right ahead. I'll pull it up for you. Do you want me to blow it up for the whole screen or just side view?
Side view, that's fine.
Okay.
So that's not the one I showed you. The one I showed you is I didn't list it yet. So that's one there. That's another one. Then I got a stirrer micrometer. That's 55. A little gauge, an old Novak speed control, a tire tuner. There's that motor, $20. There's a brush cutter for the motor, $25. There's another motor, $28, and then there's some lots of gears.
So you got this today?
Yeah. Yep.
That's cool.
Yep. So, and I didn't pay much. I paid.
Go ahead.
I only paid $80 for everything. So, but I listed it today.
$80 for everything. That's good.
You see what the numbers? Did you see the numbers on the side?
I saw the number.
Yeah.
Now, are those long tail items, or will they be gone within the week?
They'll be gone. Most of it, I don't know. Not a week. I don't know. You know, it's winter. People work on that stuff.
Definitely within the 30 days or 90 days, however you want to look at it.
Yeah, probably 90 days. Yeah, 90 days. I got I listed 12 today. I got another. I don't even know if I have another 12 lots. Maybe another 6 to list from that. So out of that, that's like 18. I'll probably sell like 8 or 9 of them in 90 days. That's not bad. The big ones will go first. They'll go right away.
That's nice. I'm going shopping again tomorrow. I'm going to Georgia. We're going to go to Clayton, Georgia. There's a thrift store there I want to hit. I'm picking my mom up. She likes going. Mom likes to go thrifting, so. Huh?
You're going to be able to list next week like a bandit.
Oh yeah, Leroy, you wasn't here to see the gym I got yesterday, was you? You missed the first part of the show.
Yeah.
I guess you're gonna have to watch the video that I put out tomorrow, or tonight, or whenever it's gonna go out. I'm still editing it, so. No, I got a.
Oh, go ahead.
Let me tell you real quick. I bought a Michael Kors purse for $3.50. Legit. Check this out. And it's in excellent used condition, man. I mean, this sucker is. I mean, I almost would thought it was brand new, but it's not.
Can I ask a silly question?
Yeah, is it real? Yes, it's real.
No. How many of those are listed right now?
This particular one, we was just discussing that. Goodwill's got 2 listed, and then probably 5 or 6. All the after those.
You know how many of these are listed?
But there's a bunch. There's a bunch sold.
You know how many of these are listed?
Yours. That's it. Yours.
42.
2. One of them's mine, and that one's not listed yet. So there'll be 3 on there, and I'll have the market on both of them. And the guy closest to me is 250.
Oh, look at this. Oh man, Sue, great pickup. 25 golf head covers. Sue, yeah, Michael Kors bags sell really good. Ashley says. Sue, I got a question. What did you give for the golf head covers? If you don't mind me asking, what was
Probably
the average price on those golf covers? Yeah, were they about? Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping they were that in Goodwill still, because that's what they used to be, and everything else has gone up. But yeah, I like golf head covers too. They sell. They're easy to list and easy to pack up and ship out. Easy. And now's the time. Yeah, Brandon.
Speaking of packing and shipping out, I don't know if you guys caught, all of you, in the little chat we have, but when I packed up that Betamax player, and I was asking everybody like how much it was going to cost, like how much it showed for shipping, because I did calculate it on that. And that thing was a monster. Like, it was huge. So I was concerned that the shipping was going to be too much and like nobody would ever buy it. Did y'all catch that when I sold that this week? I didn't only sell it, but it went international.
Ooh. I didn't see that.
I could not believe that when the sale popped up. I was like, are you kidding me? I was sitting here worried about
paid a lot
of the shipping, and it went international. So
your package went to Illinois, right? Is that where you take? Is that where yours go?
To Illinois.
Yeah,
but I was shocked at that. I mean, I have another one of those players that's actually I could get more for because I have the remote and everything.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But that one was a Facebook Marketplace buy, and I hardly ever find anything good on my Facebook Marketplace. It was $20 is what I paid for it, and sold it for 210. So I'm not gonna complain about that.
In their caves.
Actually,
They get better
I don't want
ends.
to. I'm gonna say this. I don't know what that reference was to, but I don't really go for that kind of thing. We're all humans, and to be honest, my daughter is half Pakistani, so it actually went to Canada.
No, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it the way it sounded. I didn't mean it the way I wasn't. I was just concerned about how overseas, especially in the Middle East, they have better internet than we do. And that just drives me crazy. I don't know how that's even possible. That's what I was referring to. I want to ask. Yeah, man. Silverhair said he didn't mean anything by it either. So, what was I going to say? That threw me off. Brad, other than your Play Mobile stuff that you, what is your other? Do you have other like main? Oh man, what? Do you have another big items that you sell, like maybe clothes or hats or? That looks like. Did you buy that from me?
Cassette tapes. Brad, you're muted.
You're muted, buddy. You're muted, my friend.
Yeah, thanks. I had a thing come in, so I muted it. Thanks for letting me know. No, I was just joking. I sell a handful of cassettes. That's not. I don't have many of those. I'm trying to think of. Let me look through my folds this week, because like just trying to think of it right off my top of my head, I can't really. I can't even think of stuff.
Are those jerseys listed?
No, those jerseys are keep, bro. Nobody wants them right now, anyway.
I was gonna say you probably have to clearance them, right?
Oh,
Hey,
Jimmy,
Hey,
Jimmy that was in here.
Did y'all see Taylor Swift the other day?
Oh, jeez.
God.
Hey, look, Jimmy Williams was in here earlier, Brad. When we first started, he sent me a message a while ago, and he said to tell you. He said, "Tell Brad I like those two jerseys he has hanging in the back." He lives up in Maryland, and he's a huge Dolphins fan also.
There's a lot of
I've
there's a
known
lot
him
of us
for
out
many
there.
years. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of us out there.
For
Now I'm
many,
looking
many years.
through. I'm looking through my sales for this week, and so we got like I'm looking at like today I sent out a plush is going out in the morning, and then there's some like some wooden Disney kid craft furniture, dollhouse furniture is going out. Of course, Playmobil, PJ Mask, which we hardly ever sell, but sold some of that. Some more accessories for Playmobil. Blaze and the Monster Machine. Seems like we do really good with Blaze and the Monster Machine. Fail Fix dolls. I don't even know what that is. Plush. We got some plush that went out. Starbucks. Color changing reusable hot cups. We came across those in a little deal and got a bunch of them brand new. Cereal bowls. I've sold a Sesame Street play set, the Playhouse, a puzzle, a massager, some books. So
How many items you got in your store, Brad?
I think like 2,300, right around 2,300. It keeps dropping below that, every couple of days. And
Well, of course, when you're selling 15, 20 items a day, it's going to drop below that.
2,308 at the moment.
So, Brandon, how many you got?
Let's see. What am I at? 1465. But
1465. And Leroy left. He just got up and walked away.
What's up?
Uh-oh.
I got
Leroy, how many items you got in your store?
10556.
1056.
Did he say 9056?
10-0.
1056.
1056.
Oh,
105.
So I got the smallest store of the group.
But you make more money than we all do.
You're shopping more than we are.
Oh,
I've been actually.
Well, let me ask you guys. Go ahead, Brad.
I was just going to say, I know we've been doing our listing challenge, and you guys said that cross listing doesn't count. I think we need to rethink that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, can we
Go with
come up with
that.
some kind of ratio? Can we come up with some kind of ratio? Like maybe 2-to-1. Like if I
I don't
cross,
use right. I see, and I don't use a cross listing platform, so I have to manually do it.
yeah. So one of the things that's happened here in the last few days is List Perfectly, which I do have a thing for List Perfectly. Up until this point, it's just been kind of an insurance policy to back up my my
Yes.
listing and everything. But they just finally got it released out, the auto delist, and so I've been testing it out to see if I'm going to want to pay for that when it in full when it comes along. And it's been working like a charm. Up until this point, I hadn't wanted to cross post because of having to reconcile those accounts all the time, but it's working well. So I think if I can start making more sales on Mercari, I might hold on to it. So,
well, before you make your final decision on that, Brad, talk to Chris Cernock Connection. He uses, yes, Sue, Flip is free, and me and Mac, we have used Flip. But talk to Cernock's Connection, Chris, before you make that decision, Brad, because he uses Vendu, and I don't think it costs him extra to have the automatic delisting. Vendu had it before LP did. So might want to talk with him about that and see what the deal is with the price on that. I think Vendu may be a little bit cheaper too.
Yeah, it's pretty. The basic thing's pretty close. I'd talked to OBX a little bit, and and had got it. I've used Flip before. Actually, I just deleted Flip off of my my extensions probably like 3 days ago when I was doing some maintenance stuff. But
Max says it's no extra charge on Vendu.
Yeah, it's really close for me between the two. You got more cross listing channels on List Perfectly, and I would imagine they're going to have to maybe bring that price down to keep it competitive, but we'll see.
I'm considering Vendu. I haven't used it yet, but the only reason I'm actually even considering it is because it's an app on your phone also. See, LP is not on your phone. Flip, I don't know if it's on your phone now or not. It wasn't when I first started using it. And Flip, I don't know. Did you say you used Flip, Brad, at one point?
Yeah, that I did it. I worked with it for a little bit. For the most part, the only reason I had it was just to on Poshmark do the auto sharing thing.
Right.
That's really about the extent of how I used it. It was just too much work to cross post and keep up with it and all that. So Flip doesn't have auto delist yet, do they?
Not that I know of. They didn't when I was using it. No. The only new thing, or really cool thing that I thought Flip had was that you can. So So they have a sourcing part of it where you can actually go in and purchase lots of clothes, but it works like a consignment deal, and you got 30 days to sell it. And if you don't sell it, you either send it back to your person, and then or you have the option to buy it out from the person, if I recall correctly. And Max said that no, that Flip does not have the delist thing.
Yeah. Does on Vendu, what are if you can somebody put it in the chat there, what are the listing channels they have available? Meaning, like, is it basically Mercari and Poshmark, or is it what all channels are available? And then the other question I would have would be, do they have a desktop extension for Vendu, or is it just on the mobile?
Mm-hmm.
So
what you doing, Leroy? You're shaking your head. Yes.
I'm listening to a sermon. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Do you use a cross listing platform, Leroy?
Yeah, I list it over here and then I cross over and I put it again. It looks so good. And the platform. Oh, look. See, I got a platform on here.
Yeah.
This side, the little table. So I got two platforms, and I'm listing it across them over. So yeah.
That's great. That's great. Pots, Etchy, Grail, Kidderson, Depop, and more. So, Mac, do they have, now this we're talking about Vendors, so do they got Poshmark, Macari, and eBay, of course. Let's see, and Sue says they have a desktop and an app.
Cool.
So mine would be Depop. Let's see. I'm kind of steering away from Depop though. Mine would be kind of like so I would need one for eBay, Macari, and Poshmark. Both desktop and app. Yeah. So that's what they're saying there. Brandon, do you use a cross listing platform?
I'm going to say no. I did give thought to it, but I tried to use cross-listing to Poshmark, and it's just too needy of a platform. I used Flip,
Poshmark.
which
Yeah, I
Flip
agree.
worked great. You know, I see. I have different opinions on cross-listing because I get the perception that your items on more platforms, the theory is you're going to get more eyes on it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And my first question to that is, when you go out to yard sales or Goodwill or, whatever, right? Or you go to an estate sale, and somebody, you look at their prices or you ask them how much for something, and what is the first thing that they're likely to say? Well, I looked on eBay and it sells for this much, right? I've never once heard anybody say, well, it sells for this much on Poshmark, or I've seen it sells for this on Macari. Like, it's always eBay. And so,
or Amazon.
If I am putting my items on the platform that is the most known, the most traffic, the most audience, and everything else, and it can't sell there, then do I need to put more effort in putting that item elsewhere, or do I need to focus on bettering what I'm doing on eBay? Because that's kind of like,
good point. Good point. Yeah.
It's like, I get the theory behind it. I know Poshmark is supposed to be really good. I know some of the platforms are heavy close focused, and I could see that. That's why I did try Poshmark, but it's not for me. There's too many moving parts, and it just wasn't for me.
The only way I found Poshmark to work for me is you'd have to get Sidekick, and then Sidekick would share your listings for you and do all that other stuff.
That's just taking more time out of the day. And
right.
I like the idea. If I'm going to put forth an effort anywhere, I'm going to tell you where it's at, and that's going to be somewhere like District. And I'm not saying this because of Leroy and the guys at RIN or anybody else that is from the reselling community, because to be honest, I was on District before the reseller, the top resellers started coming over there. I was on there when the top marketplace was a sports card marketplace. Midwest Box Breaks, they were the top marketplace. So I was familiar with the platform, and me and Ivan had a long discussion when I was onboarded because I liked the ideas they had. It's going to be hard for the platform to grow to meet the levels of Whatnot, eBay, even Mercari, those places. It's going to take a lot of time. But I like the elements and the thought behind District. I like the I like the magic comments things. I like how it has multiple ways. You know, it wants to be a true marketplace. It has auctions. It has live auctions. It has where you can throw in your social media aspect with the magic comments. And then it also has many marketplaces built into one platform. So I like that idea, but I'm just not, you know, my wife has talked about like some of the stuff that maybe she sources, like you mentioned Starbucks cups. They used to be all the rage. Now it seems like most of them sit, and she thought maybe trying them somewhere else would be a little bit better, but I get why people theoretically do it, but I guess more for my sake when and maybe that's Leroy's theory too. Like when you're doing most all of the listing, the packing, and all of that by yourself, trying to put forth that time into the other platforms is taking away from what's actually paying your bills. It's just like YouTube. You know, I have a monetized channel on YouTube, and I hardly ever do a video over there because I know the effort and the views and everything else it requires to make it financially like viable. And then on the
Takes a
reseller
lot of work.
side, you know, I've been doing that more just for fun or, you know, hopefully to motivate or help people. And just it also gives me that little mental break of doing the video and sharing some things. Do I ever expect it to be a viable source of revenue coming in? Would it be awesome? Absolutely. Do I expect it? Absolutely not. So it's also why I don't, you know, drive that even further, because I know already how much it takes to make it. You have to remember time is money, right? Time is money. You're not just paying for a cross listing platform. You're paying by taking pieces of your time away from your main source of income to put forth there. So you got to add that into your costs because your time is money as well. So
All right.
that's my little soapbox rant on it. But
let me ask a question, and then I'll give you reasoning behind us using it. Have you had a Vero? Have you had a Vero yet, Brandon?
I did my biggest video on YouTube ever was talking about not only a Vero, but some items that I had removed for counterfeits. However, I don't even want to jinx myself to go into details of it. I will say things have been a lot better. The Vero that I had, I've had two, but one of them I fought and won. The other one I probably could have, but I laughed at it because it was an $8 item, and I was like, and my grandmother had given it to me, so I knew it was 100% legit. But I didn't. I was like, $8 isn't worth my time. The second one I fought.
So let me ask you a second and a third question. So you have the second question was going to be, have you had two Veros? And you said yes. The third question is, have you had three Veros?
No.
Okay. If you get the third one, what's going to happen is you're going to get a 3-day suspension. So we went for forever. Like,
well, remember, I fought one of them and I won that claim. I also, my video was because I spoke to an eBay representative I spoke to many, but this one lady was very, very detailed, very helpful. And she told me some things that none of the others had ever told me about the process and everything. And I took her advice, changed some things around, and I'll just say things have been good since then. That's not, you know, you're asking that question, but the truth is that Vero policy, that's actually from the companies, and them companies can do that on any platform out there.
Yeah,
so
that's not my point. That's not my point. Let me get to my point. So we went, 17, 18, 19 years, whatever, without a Vero. We got a Vero on a Thrasher t-shirt. It was like an old, the Thrasher magazine, skateboard magazine. It was a Thrasher t-shirt. It was a legit shirt, but it got taken down. There was one, we got one hit on one with within like a couple of days, hit on one with Hoonigan. The Hoonigan shirts. It's just like it's just a Walmart t-shirt, legit t-shirt, 100% legit. Got hit. And so like my thought was at the time we never had them. It's like, who cares? I don't need to sell that $12 t-shirt anyway, right? On both of them. Well, the Thrasher one was a little more, but anyway. Then we had, I don't know if you've ever seen, it's called a tree dazzler, right? It's this thing that goes on top of a Christmas tree. It has like strands of lights that come down. It's RGB controlled, so you can you can custom make the lights any way you want to. It's like a little deal. We had 3 of them, and my wife had put 2 on the tree. We didn't need a third one. Gonna put it up for sale, right? Check the Vero list. The brand's not on there. I can't remember what the next light another, but it was adjacent to one of those as seen on TV brands, right? Doesn't show up in the Vero list. Everything's cool. We get hit with a Vero on it by a company called Red Brands, which is basically just, they're one of those companies that watches across a bunch of different brands for listings that go up, and they hit them with a Vero. It was a legit piece. There's no counterfeit. But irregardless, here's what happened on that third hit is like, and these were all within like the course of like with less than a month, right? The first 2 were like in the same week, and then this one was within 2 to 3 weeks of that. And our account got suspended for 3 days. Go ahead.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yep.
Did they happen on Tuesdays?
That I don't remember. That's been so long ago.
Because your story sounds exactly to what was happening to me, and every single week it was on a Tuesday. It was happening.
Yeah. So we hadn't had
every single week.
We hadn't had that happen since then. But what happened was with that third one, it's an automatic 3-day suspension, right? And then of course, then you're in the system for like the next one's going to be 7 days, and then at least, and then the next one's you're off there for good. The thing that happens when your store goes down for 3 days, you can still like do drafts and you can do all that. You can still make sales. You just can't list anything. But the thing that starts happening is you're like, I got 1,500 items, or I got 2,000 items, or I got whatever, and I've done all this work, and all that has to happen for every bit of that to go away is another bogus claim. I can say with 100% confidence and integrity that none of those were counterfeit, right? None of those were fake. They were all legit items, and I had a right to sell them. And had I known that would happen, I would have fought the first 2, and countered them, whatever. But here's what happens when you start thinking about the possibility of all those pictures taken. When you start thinking about all the hours that you spent listing and all the things you've done, it's like, okay, I got to have an insurance policy, because if I can't access, if that all goes away to the point where I can't even see it or access it, I need an insurance policy. And so that's what, when I said it before, I said that List Perfectly had up until this point, it's kind of been an insurance policy for us. That's what I meant. It was like, we've got our whole thing backed up, our whole store backed up. Everything's backed up. If something happens on eBay, I can just switch midstream and go to something else. And up until the auto delist thing, it's been like, we don't really cross post, right? I mean, a little bit. I got a few things cross posted to Poshmark, hats and some stuff like that, some board games. And Mercari, we've had some stuff on there and sold and whatever. But at this point, now that they actually have auto delist, it's actually like, okay, since I'm going to have that stuff there, and it's actually, I'm not going to have to do any extra work to like maintain, kind of reconcile those books. It's like, it's not going to cost me that time. If I can list them quickly cross-posting, even if it's not everything, even if it's some things, then I might as well take advantage of that. But that being said, for us, cross-posting wasn't the reason that I started looking around and found a way to do that. And I needed I know how to download my eBay
The
store and do
CSV.
all that. Yeah, I know how to do all that, and I can figure out how to access the picture side of it. That's no problem. But to be able to do it quickly and easily at the end of every day is what List Perfectly has been for us. So, yeah. And when you get when your store goes down for 3 days and you start thinking about what if this happened, like literally there wasn't anything I could do. And I've seen the stories of people who did lost their account, and then getting them back is near impossible unless you have some inside people, a couple of
Yeah,
connections
no.
that I believe could help me. But real quickly, you go like, dude, that's a ton of work. That's
Well,
just
what
going
I
to
had
go
thought,
away.
I didn't even worry about. I know exactly the feeling you had, and I haven't been, suspended or whatever, thankfully. But each time it happened, it hits you because you're sitting here doing everything as legitimate as possible, and you feel like, especially when it's hitting in those little short bursts, like real quick, you're like boom, 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 boom. You feel like you got a target on your back, and you feel like, all right, they're out to get me. You know, what I worried more than anything wasn't, of course, the time and all that sucks, but I was like, I have invested so much money into all of this stuff. If I can't, now sell it, I got a heck of a collection of stuff. Like, am I just going to start doing yard sales? Like, what am I going to do to get rid of it? So that was what was flowing through my head. Um, you know, as far as the job side of things, I went into working for myself, essentially, if that's what you want to call it, um, before reselling. I did it the year before, and I'm blessed to be able to do it. I moved over into the reselling side, but if it came to an end, I'm not opposed to going back to a 9 to 5. I'm not like, reselling or bust. I I'm I'm very, y'all see it in the chat. Y'all deal with me. I'm very self-driven, self-motivated, and if I had to go back into the workforce, I would. Um, but no, I know where you're at on that. And in fact, like I said, my biggest video, part of the reason that I probably have any subscribers at all, is I did a video 3 months ago. And the funny thing is I have my card channel, which I've done for 4 years now, I guess, almost 5 years. That video 3 months ago on my reselling channel is the largest video I've ever put out on YouTube. So I was like, how in the heck can I start this channel? And it's by a large margin. That video's got over 11,000 views on it. But it was literally talking about what that eBay rep had explained to me and some of the details, because she was very, very helpful. And I know a lot of people think that all the eBay reps suck, but this lady was understanding. She explained some things to me. Now, for those listening out there, a lot of times there's a confusion on a Vero and an item removed due to claimed counterfeit. They are two separate things. They don't go hand in hand. Vero is,
but they can be connected. Yeah.
Well, they're looked at separately in there. And she explained that a bit to me. But
it's an evolving policy too. Like they keep evolving the policy to try to work it out.
If you ever get a Vero and you are confident you are not in the wrong, send an email. And believe me, it sounded stupid as could be. I got one of mine was a Willie Nelson t-shirt. Okay. And it had all the copyright writing on it, had the tag, everything. And I got a Vero from whatever the music company is, the music label that has Willie Nelson's. And I'll call eBay and I'm like, y'all really want to tell me to email this music label? Like, they're going to give a crap about me selling a $10 Willie Nelson t-shirt. They're going to laugh at me and ignore me. Well, sure enough, they never responded. And what I found out is, I think it's after 5 days, if you email them and ask them to explain the reasoning for the Vero or more information, appeal it with the company. eBay stays out of it at that point. You appeal it to the company. I think it's 5 days. You then contact eBay. eBay will ask you to forward over the email that you sent to the company, and then they will review it, and they will then reach out on your behalf to the company. And if they don't hear anything, which likely they're not going to, then they will reverse the decision, and you'll get a message saying, your claim has been
Let me slap
changed
you
or
in,
whatever.
let me slap you in the face with this one. All right. So with the Tree Dazzler thing, I sent the email to the company, right, along with some pictures, and I said, "Can you guys?" I didn't tell them about the eBay Vero or anything like that. I want to see what their response would be first. I sent an email to the attached email from eBay. They give you the I don't know what they do now. That's been 4 or 5 years, but I sent an email to the company that had done the counterfeit claim or whatever. And I sent them pictures of the item, and like several pictures. And I was like, "Can you guys verify if this is a real or is this a real, or is this a genuine, authentic item?" Right. The response they sent back to me was, "We cannot tell just from pictures if your item is authentic or not." They said things are so well counterfeited nowadays that you can't tell. The only way we would know is if you could tell us where it came from, right? So it's like, but they base their counterfeit claim off of pictures on eBay. And so it's like that's where you want to what's the address of this place? I want to drive over there.
Yeah, right.
There was a question in the chat that said, let's see, not that one. Let me get this other one real quick. But it says, but Mr. Sadie said, "Could you survive on those alternate platforms?" Is the question. eBay is not easy to replace. Oh, eBay is irreplaceable in that scenario. But the thing is that being able to move your catalog over to a lesser platform is still advantageous to losing it completely. So, yeah. And then there's people like ADH Dave. That dude's killing it on Mercari. It seems like he's sold more on Mercari than he is on eBay right now. But so I guess it depends on what effort you put into it. That's part of the answer.
Right.
All right. Sorry, Chris. Go ahead. You've been trying to get this.
No, that's fine. That's fine. No, that's fine. I just wanted to have it up there so I wouldn't forget about it. I mean, what y'all were talking about was really, really good, really good information and stuff. I mean, the fact that because I've had items removed and was worried, but you cleared it up here saying it's different than a Vero. So that I'm happy with that. That was a good conversation. People should have learned. I hope people learned something from that one. But Silver Hair Stacker did ask a little while ago. He says, "What is everyone's best buy on a bulk multiple item purchase?" I'm not sure. Maybe I'm not understanding the question. Do you guys understand what he's saying there? Like,
yeah, like
Leroy?
on a bulk, like are you asking the question if you bought like a bulk buy of a bunch of the same item and you've listed it as a multi-quantity thing, or a listing where you actually bought just like a bulk bunch of stuff from a seller and sell it? Is it a single item or like
Right. Or is it like what Leroy does? Leroy goes to auctions and he buys whole walls in a barn. That's a bulk buy to me. So that's why I was wanting to know.
So my best, I actually walked into a Goodwill. I don't think it was it might have been this last year. It was close to Huntsville, and they had almost like a full pallet of door lock, the quick set door locks, like door handles. It's like a specific kind. And I offered them. It was like I offered them a certain amount, but we wound up buying every single one of them. And and so it was multiple items. When I say multiple, it was like, dude, I don't even know. Maybe 120 to 150 of them. But they were gone within like 3 days. So.
Oh wow. Well, I guess on my end, the best one I had, it wasn't like that many, but and this is kind of weird, but I bought a bag of oh there it goes with a um, video game system. They're these little pieces. What's that? Sky Forge or something like that. The accessory pieces that you would put on a
Skylanders.
Skylanders. Yeah. Yes. Yes. I bought a bag full of the. Excuse me. I bought a bag full of the trap pieces. They had like hammers and black spiders and red spiders and all that stuff and green hammers and all these little trap things. I bought a bag of those. It probably had like 15 of them in it. And one of those, I bought the whole bag for $1. And one of those sold for $40. The rest of them's been selling. I'm down to two, and I sold the rest of them anywhere between $10 and $15 each. So that was I guess a bulk buy if that's what we're talking about there. That was probably my best bulk buy.
Hey, Chris.
Leroy,
Just
Yeah.
like the blenders that you screwed up on, and you should have grabbed them when you could. What'd you say about Skylanders?
yeah, I can't hear you. I didn't even see. I didn't see it, Leroy. Your screen froze up. Show it to me.
It's a bunch of Skylanders.
Oh, is it?
Silver
Yeah,
hair.
me and
I was going to say silver hair kind of clarified his question there. He said his best purchase was the remaining inventory of a closed video game store. He paid $1,100 and sells it at $32,000. That's awesome.
Wow, that's good.
wow,
I gotta
that is
head
awesome,
out,
man.
guys. I gotta head out. My ride's here. I will talk to you guys next week.
Hey,
Talk to you
Leroy,
later,
on those
Leroy.
blenders, you can blame Tammy for the reason I don't have those blenders.
That's okay. I've been making money off them. All right, see you
She's-
guys.
She said no.
You going to
All
leave
right,
me
see you later,
hanging,
buddy.
bro? You going to leave me hanging?
You gonna leave him hanging?
You going
He's
to leave
giving
me
you a high
hanging,
five.
bro?
You gonna leave him hanging?
Hey!
See you, Brandon.
Later, man.
All right, let's see. Lisa says, great conversation for sure. Food for thought. I think Lonnie talked about eBay losing 200 or more of the pictures on some listings he had to replace.
To me, that
Yeah.
sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, I can see where that is a problem. Where it could be a problem because that wow, I couldn't imagine. Honestly, I couldn't imagine, and that's making me second guess what
Well,
I'm going to be doing.
I
you
don't.
know.
Well, when
You know, I'm not a fear-based person anyway, but you know, when you start thinking about just the prudence
Right.
of it, it's like,
Mhm.
I definitely get your point, and you know, I still have the Flip app or whatever it is on there because it's real simple. You know, that isn't much extra work. You're going in there and then downloading all your listings, and then boom, you do have them saved. I'm more like I just don't know, and maybe it's because I'm still building my eBay store up. You know, I'm trying to focus on that, and then I also, you know, I do more than just the reselling side. I still do all the card stuff. I mean, I just
Look at that,
got
Brad.
this
You see that?
in today that I have to process to send out for grading. So, you know, I think that's like the stories that are shared and told amongst everybody isn't always the full book. And, you know, my and again, you do, you know, Playmobil and things your way, and Chris does things this way. We all do everything different, which is awesome. That's what makes this quote air quote job awesome, because we can all do it different ways and we can work harder if we want to be more successful, or you know, if we don't need the money, we don't have to bust our butts or whatever. So you know, there's so many different ways of going about it. There's no right, wrong way about it. We all learn from each other. We all hear different things. We can try different things, and what works, what doesn't. Your point to it, though, I 100% agree. It's nice having that little, just call it an archive your listings. They're there. Boom. If you need them, you have that. If eBay screws up, let alone getting banned or whatever, God forbid, it's the internet. it's digital. Things happen, so it's nice having them there because you're right. Outside of the dollar amount, it's a lot of money involved or a lot of work involved.
Yeah.
The silver hairs question, that's actually an interesting one because I don't have anything like he's talking, 32 grand. That's massive.
Hey, right?
I've had some that were really, they weren't like the most profitable, but they were really cool. And they went with my gut buys that were cool. But I think the most profitable one is probably from the 301 sale down in North Carolina. And this made the whole trip down there worth it. We were driving past this guy it was like 10:30, 11 o'clock in the day, and he had just started setting stuff up in a yard on a table. And I noticed it was NASCAR stuff, and most people would cringe they hear NASCAR stuff. I was hoping he had t-shirts and hats. And I pull in, and he winds up having tables of diecast, the 164th, or not the 164th is the tiny one, 124th, I guess it is.
Yeah, 124.
Tables of them. And it was myself and then another couple had moseyed in. They grabbed like 4 of them, but I asked the guy how much he wanted for all of them. And I can't remember exactly. He threw out like a price of like $5. And at that point, I'm like adding in my head, how much is it going to be to just buy it all? I ended up buying them all for, I think it was $350. And because I bought so much, he started adding other stuff in when we were loading up the car. And I ended up with almost 100 pieces. And my sales on that, and again, a route sale, 301, all of that, I'm over 2,700 in sales on that. And I probably have 15 or 20 cars left. A couple of them are actually the old Collectors Club ones, and they're the old, like from the early to mid 90s Dale Earnhardts, and those are around 180 to 200 a piece. So there's some good ones in there. So, but that would probably be
Soda City
profit wise the best one. But one of my funnest was patches. I bought a huge stack of patches at a yard sale for $15 just on a whim, and learned very quickly old patches, especially like for firearms and hunting and stuff like that. People love them. So a little bolo there. What's up, Shane? Shane's a good dude.
Yeah. Sadie said, Mr. Sadie said that he bought a box of 1,200 brass window latches for the old wood windows for $12.50. Sold them 2 for $24.99 and had 6 left. Wow. So 2 for $24.99.
So that's 600.
Golly, 1,200.
25.
Holy cow.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Golly.
I say you got your money
That's
back.
great. See, and I've thought about, and I see stuff like that. Yeah. I've thought about getting into some of the old vintage door cabinet knobs, or dresser knobs, or the handles and stuff. You know what I'm talking about? Them old, they're like porcelain white, but they're really old. And then some of them's different other colors. I thought about getting into that at one time, but I just can't. I can't find them cheap enough to resell. That's my issue. If I can ever find a bag of them that's cheap enough to even try or dabble with, I'll do that. But I can't find it if they're cheap enough.
I'll tell you guys, since we're on the bulk buy, and I forgot about this, but it's a funny one. I don't think it's been on his video yet. My quickest bulk buy flip, but also at the very same time, probably my worst non-purchase ever happened. And this is a tip to anybody out there. When I'm pricing my items, I use Terapeak, and unfortunately, there's not an app or anything for Terapeak when we're out in the wild, hunting the yard sales and stuff. But the 90-day sales can really kick you in the butt sometimes when it only shows you that 90 days. And I'll explain why. But my quickest flip one was I found a bunch of the infamous Enaman at the Route 29 sale. And I paid $120 for them. I had seen Kevin, Commonwealth Picker, the day before, and I had found two the day before. And I wound up finding those the next day. I paid $120, messaged him and said, hey, man, I found more of these things. It wasn't even probably 20 minutes later. He's meeting me in the parking lot, and he gives me $250 for them. The problem is the same guy had a bunch of the little tiny Christmas ones, the ornament ones, and I didn't realize Kevin done those during Christmas. And when you looked at the 90 days, there was no sales, and I was like, those probably aren't worth it. I could have picked that bag up for 120, and Kevin said he would have gave me $700 for the bag, and I didn't buy them. So that was my quickest flip, but also probably my worst non-purchase all at the same time. So that sucked.
The most agitated I ever got in an estate sale was trying to do a bulk buy. It wasn't too far from our house. We go to this sale, and this lady had, I'm not even kidding, it looked like 1,500 of the Stampin' Up stamps, and she had a lot of the good ones. So I asked the estate sale guys, like, what would you do for all of them? And of course he's like, well, we'd have to figure that up. And I was like, well, number. You got a number? He's like, one person already asked me, and I told them to come back at 2:30. Right. So it's like, okay, it's not far from my house. I go home, talk to my wife about it, and she's like, yeah, let's go see. So we went back over there at 2:30, and that person wasn't there. And I said, or have you want to give me a number? He's like, well, I'd have to give you a number. And I'm like, that's why I'm here. You said 2:30, I'm back. And it's like, yeah, I don't. And I was like, I'm here. I have money, and I want to buy them, and I will buy them right now. And so he's like, well, let me, and so he goes into the house. These are outside, like in a carport area. So my wife starts digging through, and she's picking out some of the holiday ones because they do very well. And we got a handful. So the other person drives up, and they're there, and they're like, would you ever come up with a price? And then he's telling her, like, I don't know. So we just stopped and backed off and said, you go ahead and pick out what you want. If you want them all, you can have them all. But if you're not, you go ahead and pick. So we she was an older lady. We let her pick out the ones she wanted. And at that point, we had just taken the ones my wife had picked out, and we wound up getting all of them for like $20. But it was the most infuriating, aggravating.
I bet it was.
It's like, for the love of God, I got money. I'm trying to give it to you, and you won't take it. You can give me a price.
Look at Ashley. Ashley I found a magazine for $1 and sold it for $585 on eBay.
That's
a sports
awesome,
magazine.
Man. Yeah, way to go.
That's great. That's great. Man, I tell you what, I love telling stories. Sports Illustrated, Max said it's a Sports Illustrated Kids Edition. So that's pretty good. I love stories, man. I like sitting here and reminiscing about stories, some funny stuff that happens and aggravating stuff that happens and stuff like that. That's really cool. I like that.
Was the Sports Illustrated If I have to guess, it's the one that had Tony Hawk's card in it. The old Sports Illustrated used to have a sheet in them with 9 cards, and there's a few of them that if you can get them graded now, even a fresh magazine is hard to get them graded high because the way that they did the perforations and stuff, they weren't meant to be like, graded and all that. They were meant for kids, just like the magazine was.
SER. What is that?
Serena Williams.
S. Williams.
Serena Williams. Okay. So the Serena was in there. Yeah, some of the cards. I know the Tony Hawk is a really big one. But there is a few.
When I saw the SER,
they're rookies. So
when I saw the SER, all I could think of was Medea. Like, sir.
Look at Josh Junk Shop. He brought a brain stimulator. He said he grabbed a brain light stimulator last March on a free table. A local fish shop that sold for $895 on auction and received positive feedback. A best single item score yet. That's awesome, man. A brain stimulator.
The irony is somebody was dumb enough to pay that for it.
Right.
They needed some brain stimulation. No, that's
we're bad. That's bad, man. We shouldn't say that. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, honestly, though, I mean, really, let's. I mean, if we're all going to sit here and be honest, I love eBay because you can sell the paint off a wall on eBay. Think about it. I'm going to tell you guys my strangest sale, and this is what got me hooked. And I say it's strange because I was just brand new and it just got me hooked with it. I used to do scrap metal, okay? Before I got into eBay, I was doing scrap metal. Well, me and my son was doing it. I was doing it for him to get him to doing something. But anyway, we got into eBay, but I was doing scrap metal on the side. And I had a thrift store that every time they throw out pots and pans or whatever, or kitchen appliances they didn't think worked or whatever, they'd throw it out in a bin for me to go by and get. And that's exactly what I do. Once a week, they call me and say, hey, we got a bin full over here. So I go get it and I go through it. And what was good, I throw it in the scrap pile. And what was good, I keep. And what was bad, I throw in the scrap pile. Well, I would keep the knobs off of the crock pots, the little black knob that you turn the heat, temperature, and all that is on the crock pot. I sold one of those little black knobs for $6 and something plus shipping. I knew right then and there I could sell paint off a wall on eBay. But then again, guess what time that was? That was the pandemic era, and that was when, like you just said in the chat a while ago, Brad, that was the golden age of reselling. You could probably sell poop in a bag back then. I mean, it's crazy.
That wasn't just the golden age of reselling. I mean, if y'all knew anything about sports cards.
Yeah. I don't know nothing about them. I'm trying to learn.
You could learn.
Let me just say
all the cards away.
Let's just say there was a ton of money made, but then a ton of money lost during that period. If you were into cards before the pandemic hit, or you knew what you were doing, you could make and did make a ton of money. If you didn't, you were going to be in for a wild, wild, wild ride and lose a lot of money. But question for everybody and in the chat too, because this is something, again, I dipped my toes into reselling last year, and y'all were saying it's crazy some of the things that you could sell, and I'm sitting here telling you, in the past 31 days, I've made over $1,000 selling used hats. Like, if you had told me that a year and a half ago, I'd have laughed at you and said you're silly. You're full of crap, you know.
Yeah,
And then I'm
you
sitting
didn't
there
sell
doing
them
it.
on eBay though, Brandon. You sold them somewhere else, right?
What? Oh yeah,
Them
you
hats,
can't
they
sell
don't
them,
sell
and
on eBay.
You
you
sell it
can't
on
sell them
eBay.
on eBay. They don't sell. But no, serious question though.
Yeah.
Before, or should I say, since you've been into reselling, has it changed how you go about shopping and buying items for
Yes.
yourself? Because like this hat
Oh,
here,
most definitely.
I wanted a Dallas Stars hat, and I don't like the new ones. I don't like the new designs. I don't like how Fanatics do their crap. And so I got on and I started looking, and fitted vintage hats aren't easy to find. And I happened to find this, and I got it for like $12. And I was thinking about it afterwards, and I was like, until I started reselling, I would have never thought to go on eBay to look for a hat or a t-shirt. You know, I bought a Skeletor t-shirt. I'm like, I would have never done that before. I would be at Walmart or Lids or Dick's Sporting Goods or whatever, and I would never have thought to do it. So it's not only helped make money, but it's helped essentially save money. So
Oh yeah.
Chris
I
is
don't know
just
what I
hitting
just
buttons.
did. I did something. Yeah, I don't know what. I
Yeah.
don't know how I did that.
Yes, my wife and I were having this conversation last night. That about changing how you buy. I'll give you a good example. I was looking for an easy way to cook steaks and hamburgers and stuff like that, and the George Foreman grill is like super popular, and so I thought, well, I'll find one at a Goodwill and try it out, and then if it works good, then I'll buy one, right? So we found one at Goodwill, and it works like a charm. The only thing I didn't like about it was on the bottom plate. I don't know what it is, but on the bottom plate, it's got the little grill lines, and then in the middle, it had like these little uh, things that stick up. I guess it's so that when you've got the meat sitting on there, it won't slide off, which made it hard to clean, right? So I thought, well, I'm gonna get online. I'm gonna get on Amazon or something. I'm gonna look and see if they make one without that. And then I thought, no, I'm just gonna keep watching when we go out to yard sales or thrifting or whatever. I'm gonna watch, and if there is one out there, I'll find one. And this was back at right after Christmas. Chris, it's in the chat there somewhere, or maybe it's just a private chat between you and I. But I went to the last thrift store that is one of the only times we've gone thrifting in the last several months. And the very last thrift store we went to for the day had a brand new one in a box. And it was the kind I was looking for. It didn't have the little, I don't know what to call it. Sorry, excuse me, little teats that stick up. But it didn't have it was just the grill. So it's easy to wipe off and clean. We bought it, and it's it would have been so it's changed. It's definitely changed the way we shop. It's like sometimes it's like a little more patient instead of like impulse buys, like I'm going to get on here and buy George Foreman grill. It's like I started to do that, and it's like, nah, I'm going to wait because it's going to show up. That's that joke about you tell the universe and it's going to show up eventually. It's like we always say that if you're looking for it, it's going to show up eventually.
Oh yeah, yeah. And see this thing right here, where he's talked about me getting this big roll of labels. I want to get a toilet paper holder and mount it to the wall and put this on it. So of course I can go to Home Depot anytime I want to and go buy the sucker. But you know what? I'm like, I'll see one in the thrift store. I know I will. I've seen them before, for a little of nothing. So I'm holding out to find one in the thrift store. I know it's just a little tape toilet paper holder that don't cost anything brand new. But I can go to the thrift store and get it for 99 cents, I mean, so yes, it has changed the way I shop, most definitely. And I think it's changed the way my wife shops too, because we're like, well, we'll see it in the thrift store, or hey, while we're out thrifting today, let's keep an eye out for this. She buys stuff for herself all the time when we're thrifting, but my problem is like this purse I bought. I found it. My mind says I'm going to sell it. My wife sees it. She takes it from me, and she's like, I'm going to keep this because I don't have a black one. And I'm like, whatever, So I'm thinking she's going to keep it, but she ended up giving it back today. She's like, nah, you can have it. It's okay. So so we find stuff all the time that we can keep. I won't even go to a store and buy anything for myself anymore. It's just like I have. How do I say that? When I go to a store and buy something for myself, in my brain, I'm thinking, man, do I really need this, or can I just resell it? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's where I'm at. So it's hard for me to buy anything for me now.
I hate to go buy anything new because I feel like I'm overpaying for it. Like that's how it's
Right?
baked
Yes.
into my brain now. I'm like, man, but yeah, I mean, and speaking of like
Yep.
shopping for yourself or whatever, I felt bad. Um, you're saying your wife was going to keep the purse or whatever. Mine, she enjoys going out and like doing the sourcing and stuff, and she actually probably shops more for my daughter than she does herself because my daughter is very petite and it's hard to find her clothing. So she'll look for clothes for her, but she found something one day at a yard sale that she was so excited to find. She didn't even know they existed, but when she seen it, she got excited. And every year on Christmas Eve, she makes the kids watch Polar Express. And she
Mhm.
found this cup and saucer set that I guess Hallmark had put out that was Polar Express. And she found two of them. And she got so excited because she was like, oh, I can make the kids drink, hot cocoa during that part of the movie every year. Now they got the actual Polar Express cup and saucer. And I was like, okay, whatever. I think she paid $5 for both of them. And they come in a little box and everything. If you ever see these out there, guys, pick them up. You'd probably think they're not worth anything. She didn't think they were worth anything. She gets them home, and that's the reselling side kicks in. She's like, just so happens, goes on, even though she bought them to keep, she was like, well, let me see what they sell for. Those things sell for $100 a piece. And then she's like,
Yeah. So you see that, you're
I
like, never
really
mind.
want them, but I cannot keep a cup
Yep.
and saucer that's $100. So
Yep.
she wound up listing them. They both sold relatively quickly, but I kind of felt bad because I wouldn't have. I mean, I look at it two ways. We only spent $5, so do you look at it as if you keep something you lose 200, or do you look at it as you spent 5? Because there's that brain trick in that little game you have to play mentally as well sometimes on things, especially when you get a good deal on something that you may want to keep. So
Yeah, we
I don't know. My brain doesn't work that way. I just if it's $100, if they're selling $100, man, we're not keeping them. Yeah,
that's
I
what
mean, I don't mean that to be greedy. I don't mean that to be greedy, but I mean that's
oh,
$100
she
that I could
sold
put
them.
towards. Yeah.
Hey, the way we look, our joke is if you want to keep it, don't look it up to see what it's selling for. Because if you
That's good. That's good.
you don't know, then you don't have that reseller thing kick in. Like we got to get that listed. So
Right. Right. Yeah.
But
I
I
can
mean, I
see
told her
that.
she could keep them because I really didn't care. But yeah, I mean, that's another struggle with it is like, did you spend 5 or are you losing 200? So
Right.
yeah, I think maybe one of the things I do like about Commonwealth Picker, I like the way his shop's set up with all of his stuff, and so that's kind
Who
of how
doesn't?
we. That's kind of how we do. It's like if we find something that we like you know who Dobby is from Harry Potter?
I'll
The
send you
little.
Yeah.
some pictures later, Brad.
Have you met him?
Yeah.
I'll send you some
Okay,
pictures later.
all right.
We'll leave it at that.
Anyway, we found I don't know if it was like a 14-inch or a 16-inch little Dobby doll. My wife and son just love Dobby, think he's adorable, right? So I found it at the thrift store and gave it to him. And my wife made the mistake of looking it up, and she listed it. But it's like, well, we'll put it on the shelf until it sells, So he was only with us about a week. So That was a good sale too. It's about $60 thing.
Yeah.
Hey, Bolo of the week. Well, mini Bolo of the week. If you see a Harry Potter Dobby doll that's like, I'm sure there's a bunch of different
Yeah.
kinds. I don't even know what kind this was, but he's about 16 inches tall. Sold for about $60. So.
Or the Hallmark Polar Express cups and saucer set. I mean, like I said, she didn't think they were worth that much. She was just excited because it was the Polar Express cup and saucer, and then sure enough, they $100 a piece. So
yeah, it's hard to shop now. But there's a couple of guys in the chat. Let's see, Silver Hair Stagger says he bought 60 shirts that fit him in a rummage sale Thursday last for $36. If they don't sell, I'll wear the boogers. Yeah, I agree. I done Silver Hair Stacker. I bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I bought 12 Black Label Harley Davidson jeans that fit me, and if they don't sell, I'll keep them. So I mean that's just what it is. I mean, someone else says I don't buy new clothes now because of thrift shops. They'd rather buy them at a thrift store, which here it is right here. He says I'll probably never buy new clothes again because I see awesome stuff daily at my mom and pop thrift shops. Yes, I mean think about it. We see top brand stuff out in thrift stores and don't have to pay that new price for them. See, here's one here. It says, I have a hard time parting with tools and fishing-related items. I can relate to the fishing-related items. I have a hard time parting with that. But at the same time, if they're going to pay a bill, man, I'll get rid of them in a heartbeat,
I'm still amazed at what people throw out.
Yes. Yes. I mean, all right, look, check this out. A lot of you watching don't know this, but the guys here do because we got a lot of new viewers in here. I do go to dumpsters and get stuff, and
Trash Panda.
60-70% of the time, the stuff actually works and it sells. Even if it doesn't work, I sell it for parts and repair. I always pick up electronics for parts and repair. Then when I get it home, guess what? I test it. If it works, I've doubled my money in the value of the item. It's just like with that Bose I sold last week. We were talking about that last week. I got it for $3 for parts and repair. I get it home, the sucker works. 2 days later, it sells for $150. I wasn't expecting to get $40 for it. So there's a lot of people out there that's scared of electronics, and I want to let you know, don't be scared of them. When you look up electronics, look up for parts and repair. If the cost of the item is low enough for you to make some kind of money on it, a reasonable amount, not reasonable, I mean a fair amount of profit on it, pick it up for parts and repair. Then you get it home, test it. If you don't like shipping them, then I understand that too, because some of that stuff's hard to ship. I mean, it's heavy. I always send out most of my electronics go out UPS because UPS is cheaper. So that's.
Hey, before we head out, what about give us an update on your thermal label printer? Have you settled in with it yet?
Yes, we got it running good. Let me tell you what happened the other day. I was ready to throw that sucker out the door. So it got down to okay, I'm going to talk. I sold an item on Bonanza, and real quick, I want to touch about Bonanza, guys, because we was talking about cross listing a while ago, and I wanted to mention this. Bonanza, guys, if you're not using Bonanza, you might want to try it because it's not cross listing. Anytime you list anything on eBay, it goes on Bonanza. Anytime you sell anything on eBay or Bonanza, it comes off the platforms automatically. That's what I want to say about Bonanza. Okay, so I sold an item on Bonanza and I went to print the label. Well, I had trouble with getting the label organized. Of course, I'm illiterate when it comes to stuff like that, but I finally got it switched right, turned right, and everything. And I went to print the label. I had one label left, and it wouldn't print it. I couldn't get it to print the label at all. So I was thinking, well, maybe it's because I got one label in there. Let me just take that label out. But then I was like, well, that's dumb because how would it know if it had one label or not? That's my brain thinking there. So I put the other labels in, and it didn't work. It would print. Look, it would print a packing slip on the label, but it wouldn't print the shipping thing. And I was like, what is going on here? And I don't know. So what did I end up doing? Okay, so I ended up putting another stack of labels, another new thing of labels in. Then I couldn't get it to print nothing. So I was just got frustrated with it. I was ready to throw the sucker out the door, and I just left it alone. And so I walked into the sitting room in there, and I was sitting down, and I just happened to Google how come the thing won't work. You know what's going on with it? Well, they said check your label and make sure the label's right side up because it won't print on the waxy side of the paper. So I come in here and guess what? The new batch of labels I put in, they're upside down. I flip them right side up, the sucker prints. But I don't know why it didn't work before, though. That's what my problem is. But I hadn't had any problems since then. So we're good now. I like it.
It's the wife liking it yet?
I like it. I don't think she really cares one way or another, to be quite honest with you. She hasn't.
Yeah.
Well, now you got to get them sales up. I mean, 1 to 3 a day on a thermal printer. You need to make that bad boy hum.
Yeah, I got like 6,000 labels, man. No, I haven't. No, see, I just and the 1 to 3 deal is, I believe there's two things. There's two things there that's causing that. Number one, I will tell you, it's not eBay. It's not eBay. It's not them shutting down the system and all this stuff that we hear from other resellers, other YouTubers. They're complaining that, oh, well, they shut it down between this time and that time. That's not what's going on, man. I don't believe. Let me rephrase that. I don't believe in my case that's what's going on. It could be happening. I don't know. I haven't seen it, but I think my issue is for 1 to 3 sales a day is number one. I have 800, a little less than 900 items in my store. Number two is the last 2 days I ain't listed the first thing. So there's 2 days in a row that I haven't listed nothing. What do you think's going to? I haven't restocked my shelves, as you would say in Walmart. If you don't restock your shelves on Walmart, you're not going to sell anything. So I haven't listed in the last 2 days. Tomorrow, I probably won't list tomorrow either because we're going to be going to Georgia all day. So it might be Saturday before I can get the list again. And then I hope I have enough items to get me through the week. If not, I'll have to go source them one day next week too until I can get the stuff. I just so that's what I believe my issue is. I believe that's what's causing my low sales is number one, I don't have the items in my store for a huge sale. And number two, I'm not really consistent with my listing. As much as I want to be, you know, much as I set a goal for me to do average of 15 items a day, and that might have been unrealistic because I just have other things going on in my life. You know, eBay and YouTube is not the only thing that's going on in my life. You know, I have other responsibilities here also, you know, so that's what I think's wrong with my sales, but I'm not complaining about my sales because I've been 1 to 3 items a day for a long time, and that's just average for me. And I accepted that, and the only thing I can do is get better. I don't think it might get worse. I hope it don't get worse, but I just think that where I'm at with my store, I think it's correct and following along with how I run my store. Yeah. If that makes sense to anybody.
Yeah. I don't know how much stock I put into it because we personally don't do it, but maybe on one of those days you have a big listing day, maybe bank some of those listings just leave them in drafts and drop those on days when you're going to be thrifting and stuff. I don't know.
Right. And see, here's something that I tested with that. You made a good point about that. Here's something I tested one time and it seemed to work really well for me. Because of my schedule. So I used to travel to Georgia every Sunday and come home on Wednesday night. So there's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday that I'm not doing anything eBay reselling at all. You know, I'm in Georgia. So what I had started doing is I started listing my items and scheduling them to drop every hour on the hour. So essentially, I was averaging. I was listing 24 items a day. It's 24 hours in a day. So I was listing 24 items a day. I did that for a while, and that seemed to work really, really good. I mean, during that time period, I was doing all that. So I'm probably going to go back to doing that. Instead of trying to list 30 items on one day or 15 items on one day, I can list 15 hours worth of items. You follow what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And schedule it out. If I go over 15, then that's just another hour. And then eventually I'll get ahead, because that's what happened last time. I got ahead and I was like 4 or 5 days out with my listings, and I could, if I missed I listed today, and then tomorrow I wouldn't have to worry about it because I already had the item scheduled for that day, so it wasn't that stressful for me. So I probably will go back to doing that.
I actually do what Josh's junk shop says. He says he has mixed opinions about drafts because it will never sell not listed. True.
Yeah.
On days I'm unable to list, I pick 5 and end and sell similar. And I can tell you that the end and sell similar does work. As far as getting fresh eyes on something.
Is that still working? Used to it wasn't.
It
Is it
will
still
work.
working now?
It will work. It's if you're doing like promoted, it might screw that up a
Mhm.
little bit in the sense that, when you list something that's newly listed is going to show up typically higher in search than things that have been listed for a long time, even if they're not good items or blah, blah, blah. There's a lot there. But anyway, I know I like this in the last week, I've delisted and sold similar about 600 items they were like
Mhm.
from July. They had been there since July, and it definitely gives you a bump. You get a quick bump I'm going to say after 2 days though, it's probably, I don't know if it helps too much after that. But if you've got a big enough store, I don't know what level store you have, but if you have enough if you have enough listings to be able to end and sell similar, it does work. It's
Yeah,
just a short term fix though. So
oh yeah, right, right. Well, it's about that time. So, Brandon, do you got anything going on this week you want to let everybody know about? Any videos coming up? Any
Uh,
card shows?
no. I might scour around to see if there's any estate sales or anything going on. I'm not. Again, I still got piles of stuff that I can dig out of. Um, so I'm pretty happy with what I've been doing. However, it would be nice to get out and go hunting a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. But as of right now, I don't have anything on the plans. I've only been doing videos on Wednesday, so I might like pop a new video in or something before then. Lisa, like I said, had asked a question about something I might do a video on. I don't know. I don't put a lot of focus into the videos because again, you have to have a massive channel with a massive views to get to make it worth money. So
Oh yeah,
and I
yeah.
don't have that. So yeah, I do have to process all of these cards behind me that I got in and get them shipped out Monday. So I know that'll take me a little bit of time, but that pays too. I mean, I'll be quite honest with you guys. I'll probably get, I don't know, $1,200 off of doing that. So um,
Nice,
that pays too. So I see
Brandon.
McLeod ask any video games. I did list an egg, and that egg sold. I
It's
showed
sold.
Brad that I
Yes,
listed an egg, and
yeah.
I that egg
Sold
sold.
the next day,
Um,
didn't it?
yeah, that was awesome, dude. That was
I think
awesome.
it was
Yeah, didn't it sell the next
2
day?
days later. I think it was 2 days later. I did pull another one of the same system out, um, and start. I got it. Let me ask your opinion on this real quick, and I know we're wrapping up. I have another GameCube. It works. There's no problem with it, but there's like a rattle on the inside where maybe a piece has came loose. Would you guys just list it and notate that it has a rattle in it? Because it works fine. Like there's no issues with it. I've sat there and played games on it. It works perfectly fine. It's not acting any weird or anything. But it's like little gremlins like that I'm always like, is somebody gonna try to take me to the cleaners on it because it's got a rattle in it?
That's the way to
But
get
it works.
I'm always worried about like when I do that, because I'll do that, but then I lay awake and I'll be thinking like, well, what if when I ship that thing, something in there moves around and then gets in something that I always try to just kind of like maybe unscrew it and maybe not take it apart, but just kind of open it up and shake it just the tiniest bit.
Yeah, I could. I didn't even think about doing that. I will tell you,
right here.
Yeah,
I didn't put it in the listing, but the one that sold, I did mark it, so I know if anything's done to it. Because that's another reason that always bothers me is you hear the stories of people buy them and take pieces they need out of them or shell swap them or whatever. So I did mark it, but yeah.
I sell.
I sold an
Brad,
egg. When ready to list.
When it does something like that with the rattling and stuff, Brandon, I sell it as parts repair. And when I say parts, I list it as parts repair, and then I will list what's wrong with it, like it's got a rattle or whatever, and then I'll just list whatever I think is still worth with the rattle. I mean, because it works, right? I mean,
that's not a bad strategy.
It works.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. I think
that's how I do it.
Because I didn't even think about that. So when he said that that makes more sense.
Yeah.
The shell,
Mac takes video game stuff, consoles apart all the time. He knows all about all that mess.
Because it works fine.
Brad, what you got?
Letting it run. So
yeah.
Yeah, I may do a video. I'm just gonna keep saying that until I do one. No, I just gonna.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, Brad. It's a lot of time. The most successful resellers do not have a YouTube channel. Think about that.
I'm only gonna do it I'm only gonna do it if it doesn't eat into any other time, which is the reason I haven't done it so far. I'm a creative person. I like to do that, and it's in line with stuff that I have to do with church and stuff like that. But so it's not like a new skill set I'd have to learn. It's just more of a matter of I want to do it. Now I will say one other thing is before we get off here, before we switch gears and get completely off, somebody had said, Josh said he used to promote at 2.3%. It recently stopped and my sales have increased, sold 7 today. One thing that I have empirical evidence for myself is that anytime you change anything about your listing, it seems to make, for what, I don't know how to describe it other than to say maybe eBay has to, it has to re-index the item or at least some portion of it. What I've noticed is
give it a new number.
If I have, well, no, not even necessarily that. Like I'll have items in here that are on a shelf that I'm wanting to like move to a different shelf and consolidate and, kind of create some space. And every single time I do that, out of the items that I move, that they haven't even, I've not sent an offer or seen any traffic on the item for, 4 or 5 months. But as soon as I just change the SKU location, right?
You revised the listing, right?
I just revised the listing and put like a new SKU number, right?
Right.
Just doing that, I'll have, no kidding, I'll have a sale out of those 5 or 6 things that I moved. And I always tell my wife, it's like, we're probably going to sell one of these things that I've moved. So, and we always do.
Yeah, Mr. Sadie says all activity is good. So,
yeah.
And then Brandon, Ashley says to when you do that with your item that you're going to, says make sure you get good photos of the serial number, so if they return it, they don't switch it on you.
Yeah,
I know Ashley and McLeod, and I know, and that's happened to them before, so that's why they say that. I understand
someone that probably over photos on my listings, so there's tons of photos like on all my stuff. Sometimes 24 photos isn't enough. So
right. So this week, so tomorrow I'm going to be going to Georgia to thrift, to source, and then Saturday I'm hoping to get some listings done. Guys, if you're not familiar with District, one-stop shop powered by RIN, they're a marketplace on District. Please stop by and visit us there. visit them. You can join that marketplace. If there's resellers in here, you can join that marketplace. You can also apply to sell at that marketplace. They are a community-based marketplace that sell. If you have an iPhone and iPhone app, if you have iOS, they have the app on the phone or it's on the laptop. I'm not sure if they've done the Android yet. They are working on that for Android phones. Also, they do live auctions on there on District also. Matter of fact, I have stepped away from Whatnot for the time being, and I'm doing all my live auctions on District, which is through One Stop Shop powered by RM. So that's where all my auctions are going right now. Also, let's see what else we got. I got a video dropping in the next couple of days of the haul that I had yesterday. We went to the Goodwill Bins. I got that, and then we went to Dream Center here in my local, and those two will be combined. So I got a video on that dropping in the next couple of days. I'm editing it right now. Other than that, I guess we will see you next Thursday.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see you next Thursday night at 7 p.m.
May the force
Yes,
be
Lisa.
with May the force be with you, and don't forget to get your stickers at commonwealthpicker.com.
Yeah. Let's real quick want to answer Mr. Sadie's question. He says, can you sell on more than one district? Okay, Mr. Sadie, you can say, Brad, you've already. Yeah, you can sell on more than one marketplace on district. Like right now, I'm also a part of the Mulligan's Golf Shop and One Stop Shop. I sell all my golf equipment on Mulligan's Golf Shop. What they do not like is they do not like you to have the same item listed in multiple marketplaces within district. Meaning, like if you're part of Knickknacks, part of One Stop Shop, part of Didbit, don't have the same item listed in all three marketplaces. You don't have to spread your items out, but don't. That's what they don't like. A lot of people misunderstand that. They think that you're not allowed to cross post to eBay and all that. That's not the case. It's just within district. There's several marketplaces in there, and they don't like you putting your one item in all the other marketplaces. Am I saying that right, Brad?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if that's
so. Yes.
I don't know if that's like district policy, but I do know that the people in there ask you not to do it for some reason. So I'm assuming that it's probably policy.
Well,
yeah. So he sells on the.
There's
yeah,
several
go ahead,
reasons for
Brandon.
it. First of all, you don't need your item across all the marketplaces because district in itself has the overall search. And so you can search the entire platform right there. And if you list it, let's say you're in 6 marketplaces, you list it on all 6 of them, you're basically just wasting, server space. And you're also then going to have to go to each marketplace and remove that item. So it's only going to cause more work for you as well. And then you're also causing competitive, like marketplace versus marketplace competition with the same item essentially. And it's wanted to be one platform with many communities inside of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he says, Mr. Sadie says he sells under Craigslist Hunter also. Mr. Sadie, you can join One Stop Shop and you can sell in One Stop Shop, but now Mac did say here he thinks it's a One Stop Shop policy. I don't know if that's true. I have heard Ivan say not to do that. District Ivan, I have heard him say not to sell the same item on different marketplaces within district. So I'm not sure if that's just One Stop Shop policy or if that's something that, like what Brandon is just talking about, district does not want to happen because it clogs up the search part there. So we're not 100% sure. Yeah, Mr. Sadie, One Stop Shop, you could put anything. Is that correct, Brad? You can put anything in One Stop Shop. Is that correct?
Yep. One Stop Shop.
Yeah.
It's a one stop shop.
Most marketplaces there are niched down, but a One Stop Shop is not. You can post anything in there. All right, guys. So we're gonna call it a night. We appreciate everyone coming by. We thank y'all for joining us. Please, I'll get the schedule out here in the next few days for next week. And hey, I hope everyone has a great weekend. Good luck with your sales on eBay, and we will talk to you next week.